My black janitor thinks mopping floors around my gym makes him understand fighting. Trevor Banks bellowed it loud enough for everyone at Elite Strike MMA to hear, his voice dripping with venomous mockery that sliced through the air like a poorly thrown punch. And then he laughed, that cruel, performative cackle that echoed off the rubber mats and mirrored walls, freezing all 12 students mid-drill, their gloves hovering in stunned silence as they turned to stare, jaws dropping like they'd just witnessed a knockout from nowhere. He strutted across the mat like a peacock in fight shorts, ripping the wooden mop handle from Darius Williams's weathered, calloused hands with a dramatic flourish, and hurled it across the room so hard it crashed against the far wall with a thunderous crack, splintering on impact and sending echoes rippling through the tension-thick air. "You belong on your knees cleaning, not standing here watching real fighters like you're one of us," Trevor snarled, his face twisted in exaggerated disdain, as if Darius were a pesky fly buzzing around his ego. Darius said nothing, his face a stoic mask of unbreakable calm, even as Trevor deliberately stepped onto the freshly mopped floor with his muddy shoes, leaving smeared footprints like territorial marks, and then, oh, the theatrical flair, kicked over the bucket with a swift boot, sending soapy water flooding everywhere in a chaotic splash that soaked the mats and elicited gasps from the onlookers. "That's what a guy like you is good for," Trevor jeered, his laughter bubbling up again, loud and forced, right up until Darius threw his first punch. "No, wait, hold that thought. We're not there yet." The real storm was brewing, and it was about to unleash a torrent of buried secrets that would leave everyone drenched in shock. 6 hours earlier, Darius arrived at the gym at 5x in the morning, his breath fogging in the crisp pre-dawn chill that nipped at his skin like forgotten regrets. The parking lot was a ghost town, empty except for his battered 15-year-old Honda Civic, its faded paint whispering tales of better days long gone. He unlocked the service entrance with the key Mr. Patterson had entrusted to him 3 years ago when he hired him, a small act of faith that Darius clung to like a lifeline in his sea of isolation. The gym smelled like a familiar cocktail of rubber mats, sweat-soaked ambition, and disinfectant, a scent that stirred a bittersweet ache in his chest. Darius flipped the lights on one section at a time, his fingers knowing the switches by heart. He'd learned which ones controlled which areas through quiet observation, because small efficiencies mattered when you worked alone in the shadows, invisible to the world. He started in the locker rooms, wiping down the mirrors with meticulous strokes that reflected his own weary eyes, back at him checking the toilets for any signs of neglect. Refilling the paper towels with a gentle precision that spoke of a man who found dignity in the details, and emptying the trash bins overflowing with discarded dreams. Protein bar wrappers, sweatbands, and crumpled notes from fighters plotting their comebacks. He worked methodically, following the same pattern every morning, his movements economical like a well-oiled machine, no wasted motion, each step a silent testament to the discipline that once defined his life in the ring. In the main training area, he mopped the floors in straight, unwavering lines, the mop gliding in steady arcs, left to right, advance 6 inches, left to right again, with a rhythm that was almost hypnotic. Someone watching closely might notice how precise his footwork was, how his weight shifted smoothly from one leg to the other, like a dancer evading invisible foes, or perhaps a fighter dodging punches from his past. Behind one of the lockers, Darius found a small action figure, a UFC fighter frozen in a fierce fighting stance, its tiny plastic muscles flexed in eternal readiness. He picked it up carefully as if handling a fragile memory and placed it on top of the locker where its young owner would spot it easily, his fingers lingering on the plastic figure for just a moment longer than necessary. A flicker of nostalgia crossing his otherwise impassive face. Ah, the irony. A fallen champion reduced to playing lost and found with toy warriors. At 7, Trevor Banks arrived, striding in like he owned the place, which in his mind he practically did, walking past Darius without so much as a glance, treating him like a piece of furniture. Darius had grown used to being invisible after 3 years of being walked past like a ghost, 3 years of conversations halting abruptly when he entered a room as if his mere presence sucked the air out of it, 3 years of being just the janitor, a label that stung like a fresh bruise every time, but one he wore with quiet resilience, humorlessly chuckling to himself sometimes about how life had turned him from a storm into a mop-wielding specter. Trevor began his morning routine with exaggerated flair, stretching his limbs like a peacock, preening for an audience that wasn't there yet. Shadow boxing with sharp, showy jabs that whooshed through the air, each one a declaration of his supposed superiority. The early students would arrive at 8 a.m., trickling in with their gym bags and hopeful grins, and by noon, the gym would be a buzzing hive of activity, full of grunts, thuds, and the metallic clang of weights. Darius would work around them, all moving trash cans with a silent efficiency that bordered on invisibility, cleaning up spills that mirrored the messes in his own life, staying out of the way like a shadow that knew its place. At 12:30, Trevor taught his advanced class to 20 students, mostly young men in their 20s and 30s, all wide-eyed and eager, hanging on Trevor's every word as if he were dispensing ancient wisdom from the fight gods. He was 38 years old, in peak condition with a record of 15-2 in amateur MMA, strutting like a king in his domain. The key to a successful takedown, Trevor demonstrated with dramatic sweeps of his arms, is commitment. You can't hesitate. You drive through your opponent like they're not even there, like they're just air, folks. A student named Dylan tried the move. The 22-year-old, lean and eager, his eyes burning with the fire of someone who dreamed of going pro someday, sweat beading on his forehead as he lunged forward with youthful zeal. "Not like that," Trevor barked, his voice laced with impatience. "You're being weak. You think being polite will win fights? In the ring, politeness gets you knocked out cold. Boom!" He pushed Dylan backward again, harder than necessary, eliciting a wince from the young man that tugged at Darius's heartstrings. Darius was cleaning nearby, wiping down the heavy bags with a rag that had seen better days, his eyes discreetly observing the scene. He could see Dylan's technique was off, dangerously so. The student's hips weren't aligned properly, his weight distribution all wrong, like a house built on sand waiting to collapse. He'd hurt his knee if he kept practicing that way, maybe even end his dreams before they began, and the thought sent a pang of empathy through Darius, a fatherly urge to protect bubbling up unbidden. "Excuse me," Darius said quietly, his voice barely above a whisper laced with hesitant concern. "His foot position, it's throwing off his balance. A slight adjustment could—" Trevor stopped mid-sentence, his head whipping around like he'd been slapped, his eyes narrowing into slits of fury. He turned slowly, deliberately, building the drama like a villain in a bad movie. "Did I ask for input from the cleaning staff?" The gym went deathly quiet. 20 students watching with bated breath, the air thick with awkward tension that made Darius's stomach twist. "No, sir," Darius replied evenly, his heart pounding but his face betraying nothing, a storm raging inside while the surface remained calm. "I just thought, I don't think clean," Trevor interrupted with a sneer, turning back to Dylan as if Darius were a mere interruption, a fly to be swatted. "And if you train hard enough," Trevor added loudly for the class's benefit, "you won't end up mopping floors at 45 years old. That's what happens when you're soft, like a sponge soaking up failure." Dylan glanced at Darius with a mix of pity and embarrassment, then looked away quickly, his cheeks flushing, leaving Darius to pick up his spray bottle and move to the windows, his hands trembling slightly with suppressed emotion, a quiet rage simmering beneath the surface like a pot about to boil over. At 4 in the afternoon, the youth class began, a whirlwind of teenagers bursting through the doors, some training seriously with focused intensity, others just there for the exercise, laughing and shoving each other in playful camaraderie that brought a faint, wistful smile to Darius's lips. He watched them from the storage closet as he organized cleaning supplies with mechanical precision, stacking bottles like soldiers in formation, his mind wandering to simpler times. Then he saw her. Maya Williams walked through the door with two friends, her laughter ringing out like a melody from his past. Now 16 and radiant in her black workout clothes, hair pulled back in a ponytail that swayed with each step. The last time Darius had held her, she'd been 6 years old, a tiny bundle of joy who fit perfectly in his arms. And the memory hit him like a sucker punch to the gut, stirring a whirlwind of emotions. Love, regret, longing that threatened to overwhelm his stoic facade. She looked so much like her mother, with those same expressive eyes that could light up a room or pierce a heart. Darius stepped into the hallway, his pulse quickening, a hopeful hook tugging at his soul. Maybe today she'd look at him and remember the way he taught her to tie her shoes with patient loops, how he'd carry her on his shoulders like she was queen of the world the nights she'd call him dad, with unbridled affection that made his world spin right. "Maya," he said softly, his voice cracking just a fraction, laden with years of unspoken apologies and unspoken love. She turned for a second, their eyes meeting in a charged moment that hung in the air like lightning about to strike, his filled with desperate hope, hers flickering with confusion. Then her friend spoke, breaking the spell with a casual whisper. "Who's that?" Maya's face went cold in an instant, a mask snapping into place that shattered Darius's heart anew. "Nobody," she muttered dismissively. "Just the janitor." She walked past him without a backward glance, her steps hurried, leaving him standing in the hallway for a long, agonizing moment, the word nobody echoing in his mind like a cruel joke from fate, a humorous twist in the tragedy, if only it didn't hurt so damn much. He returned to the storage closet, sat on an overturned bucket that creaked under his weight, and pulled out his wallet with trembling fingers. Inside was a faded photo. Maya, at 6 years old, standing next to him holding a championship belt gleaming under arena lights, her clutching a trophy he'd won for her at a carnival game with a triumphant grin. Both of them smiling wide, frozen in a happier time that now felt like a distant dream. He looked at that photo every day, tracing her face with his thumb, whispering silent promises to the air, emotions welling up in a tidal wave he fought to contain. From his office window, Trevor Banks watched this heartbreaking interaction unfold. His fists clenched so tightly, his knuckles whitened, jaw clenched like he was biting back a scream. He saw Darius speak to Maya, saw her walk away with that cold dismissal, saw Darius disappear into the storage closet like a wounded animal seeking refuge. For a fleeting moment, something raw and unexpected, guilt, sharp and unrelenting, crossed Trevor's face, twisting his features into a mask of regret that he quickly shoved down, turning away with a shake of his head as if to banish the ghosts haunting him. At Sixgars, the evening class assembled the big one for adults. Serious practitioners who filled the gym with a palpable energy, easily 300 people when you counted students, observers, and families, the air buzzing with anticipation like the prelude to a title fight. Trevor stood at the center of the mat, demonstrating a chokehold with exaggerated confidence, his voice booming. The rear naked choke is one of the most effective submissions in MMA, but you have to position your arms correctly, or you'll end up choking on your own failure, ha! He had a student demonstrate on him, then reversed roles with a flourish. But Darius, mopping in the corner and staying out of the way like a shadow, could see the student's thumb was in the wrong position, a rookie mistake that could damage Trevor's trachea if the hold slipped, sending a flicker of concern through him despite everything. The student adjusted, accidentally putting more pressure on Trevor's windpipe, causing Trevor to cough violently and push him off with a dramatic shove. "Pay attention!" Trevor snapped, his face reddening with a mix of embarrassment and rage. "You trying to kill me? This isn't amateur hour!" The student looked confused, bewildered eyes wide. "I'm doing what you showed me, coach." "No, you're not. Your thumb?" Trevor stopped abruptly, realizing his own slip-up, the irony hanging heavy in the air like a bad punchline. Darius watched this unfold from afar, his mop pausing mid-stroke, knowing the student was going to hurt someone, maybe himself, if not corrected, the thought gnawing at him with paternal worry. "His thumb needs to be outside," Darius said quietly to the student nearest him, his voice a gentle nudge. "Not tucked in, or it'll slip and cause real damage." The student blinked in surprise. "What?" Trevor's head snapped around like a whip, his eyes blazing with fury. "What did you just say?" Darius straightened, meeting his gaze steadily, a quiet defiance building. "Nothing, sir. I was just—" "No," Trevor interrupted, striding across the mat with predatory steps, the entire gym watching now, 300 people holding their breath in a collective gasp of anticipation. "You were correcting technique. You were giving my student instruction. Like you think you're the expert here." "I apologize," Darius said, his voice steady but his heart racing with a mix of fear and resolve. "I didn't mean to overstep." "You didn't mean to overstep." Trevor laughed without humor, a forced bark that echoed mockingly, building the drama to a fever pitch. "The janitor thinks he knows MMA better than me. What a joke!" Silence descended like a heavy curtain, 300 people frozen in place, the tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. And that's when Trevor spotted her. Maya standing with her friends near the entrance, watching her father be humiliated in real time, her face a storm of emotions. Trevor's eyes lit up with malicious glee, a hook sinking deep as he seized the opportunity. "Wait," he said, his voice dripping with feigned surprise. "Maya Williams. That's your last name, isn't it?" Maya froze, her cheeks flushing with mortification, the crowd's eyes turning to her like spotlights. "And this?" Trevor pointed at Darius with a theatrical jab. "This is Darius Williams." He walked up to Darius, invading his space, standing just 6 inches from his face, close enough to feel the heat of his breath. "Is she your daughter?" Darius said nothing, his breathing steady. In through the nose for 4 counts, hold for 7, out through the mouth for 8. A meditation technique that kept the storm inside at bay. "I asked you a question," Trevor pressed, his voice rising for effect. "Is Maya Williams your daughter?" "Yes," Darius admitted quietly, the word heavy with years of pain. Trevor turned to the crowd like a ringmaster addressing his audience. "Did everyone hear that? The janitor, the man who mops your floors and cleans your toilets, is Maya's father." Maya's face went crimson, her friends whispering to each other in hushed shock, giggles escaping that cut like knives. "Dad, don't," she started, her voice trembling with a mix of embarrassment and plea. "Dad?" Trevor's eyebrows shot up in mock astonishment, circling Darius like a shark smelling blood, blocking his path and making escape impossible without a physical confrontation. "She calls you Dad? That's generous considering—" He paused for dramatic effect, savoring the moment. "Do you know what this man did?" Trevor asked the crowd, his voice booming. "Does everyone here know the story?" No one answered, the silence pregnant with curiosity. "In 2015, Trevor continued, his tone shifting to storyteller mode, this man was caught cheating. Steroids. He was a fighter then, had a title, lost everything when the truth came out, poof like a bad magic trick." He laughed again, but this time it was laced with nervousness, as if his own demons were peeking through. Now he cleans up after real athletes. Darius's hands clenched at his sides, knuckles white, but he didn't move, his emotions a churning sea held back by sheer will. "That's why Maya pretends not to know him," Trevor pressed on, twisting the knife. "Would you claim a cheater as your father? A man who was too weak to win fairly? A man who got caught and lost everything? His career, his wife, his daughter's respect? Ha, what a legacy!" "That's enough," Darius said, his voice still quiet but now edged with steel, a warning that made Trevor pause, the air crackling with impending explosion. "Or what?" Trevor stepped closer, his breath hot and challenging. "What are you going to do, old man? Mop me to death? Come on, that'd be hilarious. Death by suds." The crowd laughed. Not everyone, but enough to sting, a chorus of uneasy chuckles that amplified the humiliation. Dylan, the young student, was grinning like it was the best show in town, while some of the teenage students were recording on their phones, capturing the drama for viral fame. Mrs. Chen, a 60-year-old woman who taught Tai Chi with graceful poise, frowned deeply, her brow furrowed in disapproval. "This seems unnecessary," she muttered to her neighbor, her voice a quiet protest in the storm. But no one told Trevor to stop. The hook was set, and the crowd was reeled in. Trevor walked to where Darius had left his cleaning supplies, picking up the mop bucket full of dirty water with a grunt, carrying it back and setting it at Darius's feet with a sloshing thud. "You know what?" Trevor said, his eyes gleaming with mischief. "I'll make you a deal. Prove you're not a nobody. Prove you're not just a washed-up liar." He kicked the bucket hard, water splashing across Darius's work pants, the only decent pair he owned for the job, soaking through immediately in a cold, humiliating wave that made him shiver involuntarily. Darius stood perfectly still, water dripping from his legs, his dignity the only thing keeping him upright. "Fight me," Trevor challenged, his voice rising to a dramatic crescendo. "Right here, right now. Show everyone that you're not just a cheater who got caught. Show your daughter you're actually a man, or at least pretend to be one for 5 minutes." The gym erupted in noise, students talking over each other in a cacophony of excitement and discomfort, some cheering the boldness, others shifting uneasily at the raw cruelty. "Trevor, that's completely inappropriate," Mr. Patterson, the gym owner, pushed through the crowd, his 65-year-old frame with gray hair trying to maintain order, his face etched with worry like a father intervening in a playground brawl. "He insulted my teaching," Trevor retorted defensively, "in front of my students. He thinks he knows better than me, so let him prove it, or is he all mop and no muscle?" "I don't want to fight you," Darius said calmly, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of deep-seated pain. "Of course you don't," Trevor mocked, walking over to Maya, who backed up instinctively, her heart pounding. "Your daughter's watching, Darius. She's watching you do nothing again, just like you did nothing when they took your title, just like you did nothing when your wife left, just like you've done nothing for 10 years except push a mop. Talk about a knockout career change." "Dad," Maya said, her voice cracking with emotion, tears welling up. "Just go. Please, just go." Darius looked at his daughter, her tears mirroring his own unspoken ones, the sight twisting his gut like a vice. Trevor pulled out his phone with a flourish, pulling up a photo and holding it in front of Darius's face like evidence in a trial. "Is this you?" It was a photo of Darius from 2015, holding a championship belt, his face triumphant. "Darius, Silent Storm Williams, National MMA Champion, 2012 through 2015, record 28-1. Darius said nothing, his jaw set. "I'll tell you what happened," Trevor said to the crowd, building the narrative like a suspense thriller. "He got caught with steroids in his system after his last fight, stripped of his title, banned from competition. Turns out his whole career was a lie, every win fueled by chemicals, every title as fake as a Hollywood punch." "That's not," Darius started, his voice rising for the first time with raw emotion. "Not what?" Trevor shoved the phone closer, his face inches away. "You going to tell me the athletic commission was wrong? That the lab tests were wrong? That you're actually innocent? Come on, that's rich." He pulled out his wallet and produced a photograph, the same one Darius kept in his pocket, Maya as a little girl standing next to Darius after a fight. "I found this taped in the storage closet," Trevor lied smoothly, though no one knew that yet, his voice laced with false sympathy. "He keeps pictures of his daughter hidden away because he's not allowed near her, because she wants nothing to do with him. Pathetic, right?" Trevor held the photo up for everyone to see, then dropped it on the wet floor with a casual flick. the frame cracking on impact. "Oops," Trevor said with a sarcastic shrug, placing his shoe on top of it. "You going to pick it up?" he taunted. "You going to bend down and scrape your precious memory off the floor like the garbage it is?" Darius's breathing changed, still controlled but faster now, emotions surging like a dam about to burst. "Or," Trevor said, pressing down, the glass shattering completely under his heel as he twisted it, grinding the photo into fragments with cruel deliberation. Maya made a sound, a gasp mixed with a sob that pierced the air like a dagger. That's when Darius spoke, his voice cutting through the chaos. "1 round," he said, the words hanging like a challenge from the gods. The gym went silent, a collective intake of breath. "What?" Trevor blinked, caught off guard, the humor draining from his face. "1 round," Darius repeated, his eyes locking onto Trevor's with unyielding intensity. 5 minutes, standard MMA rules. You and me." Trevor's smile returned, but it was shaky, laced with uncertainty. "You're serious? You at 45 against me? I train 6 days a week. You clean toilets, talk about underdog comedy." "I know what I am," Darius said calmly. "Do you?" Trevor's smile faltered for just a second, a hook of doubt sinking in. Then it came back wider, forced. "Okay," he said. "Let's set terms. When I win, and I will win, you leave this gym. You leave this city. You don't contact Maya again ever." Maya gasped, horror etching her features. "No!" "And when you lose," Darius countered, his voice quiet but clear as a bell, laced with the weight of years of injustice, "you tell the truth here in front of everyone about what really happened in 2015. Trevor's face went pale, fear flickering across his features like a shadow, his heart skipping a beat in panic. Then he recovered, masking it with bravado. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you do," Darius said, the accusation hanging heavy, emotions raw in his eyes. They stared at each other, the entire gym holding its breath in suspended drama. "Fine," Trevor said finally, his voice cracking slightly. "Sure, if somehow you win, I'll tell everyone what a great champion you were, whatever fantasy you need." He turned to Mr. Patterson. "Get a notary. Make this official. I want it documented when he loses. It'll be legendary." Mr. Patterson looked between them, his face troubled, brows furrowed in deep concern. "Gentlemen, I don't think this is—" "Get a notary," Trevor repeated sharply. "Or I walk. I'll take my students with me. You know I will." Mr. Patterson hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing on him like a heavy bag, then nodded reluctantly. "I'll call my lawyer. He's notarized before." While they waited, Trevor had one of the students write the terms on the gym's whiteboard with bold strokes, everyone able to see it, phones out recording the escalating drama. The terms were simple, but stakes sky high. Official agreement. Darius Williams versus Trevor Banks. 1 round, 5 minutes. Standard MMA rules. No headgear. If Trevor wins, Darius leaves gym, leaves city. No contact with Maya Williams. If Darius wins, Trevor submits written confession to State Athletic Commission regarding 2015 incident. Trevor Banks, signature pending. Darius Williams, signature pending. Witnessed by James Patterson, owner, Sandra Chen, Thomas Morrison, senior members. The lawyer arrived 30 minutes later, a man in his 50s named David Reeves, disheveled from the hasty call, reading the terms with a deepening frown. "This is highly unusual," he said, his voice laced with professional caution. "Just notarize it," Trevor snapped impatiently. "Mr. Williams," Reeves addressed Darius directly, his eyes searching. "You understand that if you lose, you're agreeing to leave the city, to have no contact with your daughter? This is binding, heartbreakingly so." "I understand," Darius said, his voice steady but his eyes glistening with unshed tears, the emotional weight crushing. "Dad, don't do this," Maya pleaded, her voice breaking, tears streaming. You've stayed quiet for 10 years. Why does this matter now? Because, Darius said softly, his gaze locking on hers with profound love, you're watching, and I need you to know the truth, even if it costs me everything else. I can't let the lie win. Not anymore. Trevor laughed derisively. This is pathetic. Sign the paper, old man. Let's get this over with. Your retirement party awaits. They both signed, Reeves notarizing the document with a reluctant stamp, 4 witnesses adding their names below in solemn silence. When does this happen? Dylan asked excitedly, his phone still recording. Sunday, Mr. Patterson decided. That's 2 days from now. Friday night is not appropriate for... 2 days is fine, Darius interjected calmly. You need 2 days to prepare? Trevor mocked with a snort. Going to get in shape? Remember how to fight? Or maybe practice your mopping technique. Sweep the leg, ha! Darius didn't respond, simply picking up his mop and bucket, the water having spread across the floor in a messy pool that mirrored his turbulent emotions. He began cleaning it up methodically, ignoring the stares. Trevor watched him for a moment, a flicker of unease crossing his face, then turned to his students. Class is over. Everyone be here Sunday at 6 p.m. You're going to see what happens when amateurs challenge professionals. It'll be a comedy of errors. The crowd dispersed slowly, people clustering in excited groups, pulling out phones to text and post. The story was already spreading like wildfire, hooks of intrigue pulling in more curious souls. Mrs. Chen approached Darius as he cleaned, her steps soft. "Young man," she said quietly, her voice warm with empathy. "I don't know what happened in your past, but I've watched you work here for 3 years. You move like someone who understands their body, like someone with training, with soul." Darius continued mopping, his movements fluid. "Thank you, ma'am. That chokehold advice you gave," she continued, her eyes twinkling with recognition. "You were right. I've taught martial arts for 40 years. I saw the mistake too. Doesn't matter now," Darius replied humbly. But she touched his shoulder briefly, a gesture of solidarity that warmed his heart. "Perhaps it does. There's something about you. I can't place it, but I'll be watching Sunday. And remember, sometimes the quietest storm is the deadliest." She walked away, leaving him with a spark of hope amid the turmoil. Maya lingered near the entrance, her emotions a whirlwind, anger, confusion, love bubbling up unbidden. When most people had left, she approached her father hesitantly. "Why did you do that?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Why didn't you just walk away like you always do? It's what you're good at, disappearing." "Because," Darius said, meeting her eyes with raw vulnerability, "walking away means you keep believing the lie. I can't let that happen. Not to you. Not anymore." "What lie?" she demanded, tears threatening. "You'll find out someday," he said gently. "One way or another." Maya shook her head, frustration mixing with fear. "You're going to get hurt. He's going to destroy you, and then you'll be gone forever, like you weren't already a ghost in my life." "Maybe," Darius admitted, his voice soft with paternal love. "But at least you'll know who your father really is, not the story you've been told. And hey, if I win, maybe I'll teach you some real moves, instead of just mopping up after them." She almost smiled at the weak humor, but instead turned and left, leaving him alone with his thoughts. The gym emptied. Darius finished mopping, throwing out the broken picture frame with care, removing the torn photo delicately and placing it in his wallet next to the intact one he'd cherished all along, a small act of defiance against the destruction. As he locked up for the night, Trevor's voice echoed from the parking lot like a taunt from the shadows. "See you Sunday, Janitor. Hope your daughter says goodbye. Maybe pack a mop for the road." Darius didn't respond, getting in his Honda and driving home, the engine's hum a soothing counter to his racing heart. 2 days until Sunday. 2 days until truth or exile, a cliffhanger that gripped his soul. Saturday morning, 5:00 a.m. Darius's apartment was a single room in a converted warehouse, affordable housing for low-income workers like him. The space immaculate as always. Bed made with hospital corners that spoke of military-like discipline. Small kitchenette, spotless, everything in its place, like a fighter's mind before a bout. He woke without an alarm, his internal clock honed over 40 years of rigorous routine, a habit that now served as his anchor in the storm. He started with stretching, not casual morning limbers, but a specific sequence. Hip flexors held taut, hamstrings extended with precision, shoulders rolled in circles that released years of tension. Each position held for exactly 30 seconds, the flexibility routine of a professional athlete refusing to fade, even in obscurity. Then breathing exercises, sitting cross-legged on the floor like a monk in meditation, inhale through nose for 4 counts, hold 7, exhale through mouth for 8, 20 repetitions that dropped his heart rate into the low 50s, calming the emotional tempest within. After 20 minutes, he stood and moved through shadowboxing combinations. But these weren't random flails. Each had purpose. Jab, jab, cross, hook, slip, slip, counter. The movements economical like poetry in motion. No wasted energy, maximum efficiency that made his footwork whisper across the floor. His weight transferred smoothly like water flowing over rocks, a silent storm building intensity. When he finished, he walked to his closet, pulling down a battered gym bag he'd kept hidden for 3 years like a buried treasure. He unzipped it slowly, revealing hand wraps yellowed with age and sweat, a championship belt tarnished but radiating quiet power, and newspaper clippings that rustled like ghosts from the past. He picked up one article, the paper fragile now, edges yellowing like old wounds. Champion Williams stripped of title in doping scandal by Sarah Martinez, sports reporter, December 14, 2015. The State Athletic Commission announced today that MMA champion Darius "Silent Storm" Williams has been stripped of his national heavyweight title following a positive test for performance-enhancing substances. Williams, 35, held the title for 3 years with a record of 28-1. The test results are conclusive, said Commission Director Frank Morrison. Mr. Williams's post-fight sample contained banned substances at levels far exceeding trace amounts. This is a clear violation of athletic integrity. Williams maintains his innocence, but has declined to fight the ruling due to lack of legal resources. His attorney withdrew from the case after Williams could not pay legal fees. The title will be awarded to runner-up contestant pending review. Darius read it for the 1,000th time, the words searing his soul anew, emotions surging. Anger at the injustice, sorrow for the lost years, a humorous bitterness at how life had turned a champion into a punchline. Then he pulled out another clipping from deeper in the bag, one he'd never shown anyone, a small community newspaper piece, 3 paragraphs that held the key to his vindication. Local gym trainer Trevor Banks promoted to head coach. Trevor Banks, 28, has been promoted to head coach at Patterson's MMA gym after 3 years as assistant trainer. Banks said he was grateful for the opportunity and looked forward to growing the program. When asked about the promotion, gym owner James Patterson noted that Banks had recently received a substantial family inheritance that allowed him to invest in the gym's expansion. Darius sat on his bed holding both articles, memories flooding back like a knockout reel. The night in 2015 before the fight with Maya at 6 years old, sitting on his lap in the locker room, her tiny voice full of wonder. "Daddy, will you win tonight?" "Always, baby girl," he'd said, hugging her tight. "And I'll always come home to you." The fight had been easy. A technical knockout in the 3rd round, clean and professional. No unusual fatigue, no enhanced strength, just pure skill and heart-won training. 48 hours later, the commission showed up at his door like grim reapers, positive test results in hand, banned substances in his post-fight sample. "I didn't take anything," he told them desperately, his world crumbling. "The test doesn't lie," they'd responded coldly, confiscating his belt, freezing his fight purse, opening an investigation that felt like a noose tightening. His wife, Linda, had believed him at first, standing by him with fierce loyalty. But as the legal bills mounted like a rising tide and the evidence piled up like damning bricks, she'd started to doubt, her eyes filled with pained confusion. "Maybe you did it without realizing," she'd said tearfully one night. "Maybe it was in a supplement." "I don't take supplements," he'd replied, frustration boiling. "You know that. I fight clean, always." "Then explain the test, Darius. Explain why they found it in your system." He couldn't, the mystery gnawing at him like a persistent ache. The attorney he'd hired charged $200 an hour, draining his savings after just 6 hours of work. The attorney withdrew with a sympathetic shrug. "You need someone who will work pro bono, but cases like this, no one takes them. The evidence is too clear, too ironclad." Darius had tried to represent himself, standing before the commission with shaking hands and a voice full of conviction. But they weren't interested in his testimony. Test results were test results, black and white in a world of gray emotions. 6 months later, Linda filed for divorce, her face etched with sorrow as she got primary custody of Maya. "I can't have my daughter around someone who makes such poor choices," Linda had told the judge, her words cutting deeper than any punch. Darius got supervised visitation 1 weekend a month, precious hours filled with awkward hugs and forced smiles. "I love you, baby girl," he'd say. But the visits lasted only 2 years before Maya, at 8 years old, asked to stop coming, her innocent eyes confused. "She says it's too hard," Linda explained gently but firmly. "She's confused. Her friends ask about you. She doesn't know what to tell them. The cheater dad story doesn't make for good playground talk." Darius had agreed to stop for Maya's sake, his heart shattering into pieces, spending the next 8 years working whatever jobs he could find, security guard at night shifts that left him exhausted, warehouse worker lifting boxes that reminded him of heavy bags, eventually janitor, a role that humbled him to his core. He'd stayed in the same city as Maya, taking the job at Patterson's gym, specifically because he learned she trained there, just to be near her, to watch her grow up from afar, even if it meant being a silent spectator in her life, a humorous ghost mopping up the edges of her world. For 3 years, he'd mopped those floors with quiet determination. For 3 years, he'd been invisible, a background character in his own tragedy. For 3 years, he'd watched Trevor Banks build a reputation on money Darius suspected came from suspicious sources, never having proof but clinging to overheard whispers like lifelines. He'd never had solid evidence, but he'd heard 2 voices in the locker room that fateful night after his fight, while he was showering. "Banks did what we paid him for. Williams is out. Good. He wouldn't throw fights. Too noble. Now we control the division." He'd rushed out, heart pounding, but found the locker room empty. The men vanished like smoke. He told the commission, his voice urgent, but they'd filed a report with bureaucratic indifference. No follow-up ever came, leaving him adrift in doubt. 2 months later, Trevor Banks received that inheritance, a coincidence too perfect to ignore, fueling Darius's quiet rage. Now, Darius pulled on workout clothes that still fit like a glove and went to the small courtyard behind his building, a patch of cracked concrete with chalk marks from kids' basketball games, faded like forgotten dreams. He marked out a 5x5 square with his shoe, approximating an MMA ring, the boundaries a metaphor for his confined life. Then he practiced footwork first, tiny steps on the balls of his feet, moving forward, backward, lateral with ghost-like grace. His shadow on the concrete danced with liquid precision, evading imaginary strikes. Then defense, slip left, slip right, duck, weave, all without blocking, pure evasion that made him feel alive again. He practiced one specific counter move 50 times a body shot, not thrown hard, but placed perfectly at the solar plexus, where the ribs meet the diaphragm. A strike that would stop breathing without causing lasting injury, a merciful end to the drama. He practiced until the movement was automatic, muscle memory awakening like an old friend, emotions of empowerment surging through him. At 10 a.m., he stopped, sweat glistening, walked to a corner store for a protein bar and water, the cashier giving him a nod that felt like small validation. Back in his apartment, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number that made his heart leap. "Dad, it's Maya. Don't do this tomorrow, please. I don't want you to get hurt." She'd never texted him before. He didn't even know she had his number, the message a hook of hope amid despair. He typed back with trembling fingers, "I love you, baby girl. See you tomorrow." She didn't respond, leaving him in emotional limbo. That night, across town, Trevor Banks couldn't sleep, tossing in his bed like a fighter dodging nightmares. He sat in his home gym staring at a heavy bag that hung mockingly, his wife long asleep upstairs. On the wall hung a poster, Darius "Silent Storm" Williams, holding the championship belt from 2014. Trevor had bought it when he was 22, idolizing the man, thinking, "That's what I want to be, untouchable." Then came his father's diagnosis. Stage 4 cancer, treatment not covered, $200,000 in bills looming like a death sentence. Then the men in suits appeared like devils with deals promising money. "All you have to do is one small thing," they'd said smoothly. "Put this in his water bottle after the fight before testing. No one will know." They'd offered $50,000. Trevor had done it, his hands shaking, guilt already gnawing. His father lived another 2 years, good years, pain-free, but the cost haunted him. Now, staring at that poster, he whispered hoarsely, "I'm sorry," tears welling, the poster silent as stone. "I'm so damn sorry." Sunday, 6 p.m., the gym had been transformed into an arena of fate. The main training area cleared, a makeshift ring marked with tape on the floor like battle lines drawn. Chairs arranged in rows, every seat filled with 317 people. A mix of gym regulars, curious outsiders, and thrill-seekers drawn by the viral buzz. Word had spread beyond the gym community like a contagion, people from across the city flocking in, the air electric with anticipation. Disgraced fighter versus his former teammate, 10 years of bad blood boiling over. The social media posts had hooked them. Dylan was recording everything on his phone with a tripod setup, grinning. "This is going to get 1 million views, epic drama alert." Mr. Patterson stood at the center of the ring area, holding a microphone with solemn authority. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind everyone that this is a sanctioned sparring match. 5 minutes, standard MMA rules. No strikes to the back of the head, no groin shots, no eye gouging. I will stop this if anyone is seriously injured. Safety first, folks." He looked at both men, his eyes pleading for sanity. Trevor entered first, wearing red shorts and black gloves, his walkout aggressive. Shadow boxing wildly, bouncing on his toes like a coiled spring, the crowd cheering for their familiar coach. These were his students, his supporters, roaring approval. Then Darius entered, in black shorts, white tape on his hands. No gloves yet. Mr. Patterson would provide those. He walked to the ring in silence, no showboating, no acknowledgement of the crowd. His focus laser sharp, emotions locked down. Maya stood in the back near the emergency exit, her hood up to hide her tears, almost not coming but compelled by a daughter's conflicted heart. Needing to see how this emotional roller coaster ended, her stomach in knots. The men met in the center, Mr. Patterson between them like a referee in a title bout. "Gentlemen, we have rules. Follow them, respect them. This is not a street fight. This is controlled sparring." "Sure," Trevor said with a smirk. "Controlled, like how I'll control this beatdown." Darius said nothing, his silence speaking volumes. They touched gloves, Trevor's hand shaking slightly with nerves he tried to hide. Darius noticed a small hook of advantage. The timer started. 5 minutes. Trevor came out aggressive, firing 3 quick jabs followed by a leg kick, his movements sharp but fueled by ego. Darius wasn't there for any of them. He'd moved just 6 inches, no more, just enough to evade, his footwork a masterclass in minimalism. Trevor threw again. Hook, uppercut, overhand, right, air, air, air. Darius's head moved on a different axis from his body, punches missing by hair's breadths that looked impossible, eliciting murmurs from the crowd. "Stand still!" Trevor shouted in frustration, his face reddening. The crowd murmured, tension building. Mrs. Chen leaned forward, whispering, "Oh my God, this is art!" 30 seconds gone. Trevor pressed forward, throwing combinations now. Jab, jab, cross, hook, kick, a flurry of strikes meant to overwhelm. Darius slipped between them like water through fingers, untouched, his breathing steady. He hadn't thrown a single punch, conserving energy like a strategist in a chess game. Dylan lowered his phone slightly, eyes wide. How is he doing that? It's like magic or a glitch in the Matrix. 60 seconds. Trevor was breathing hard now, frustration making his technique sloppy, swings wilder. He lunged in with a takedown attempt, arms grasping. Darius's hips moved back just enough. Trevor's arms closed on nothing, stumbling forward. "Fight me!" Trevor yelled, voice cracking with desperation. "Throw something, you coward!" Darius circled calmly. "I am," he said quietly, a subtle humor in his understatement that drew a few chuckles from the crowd. 90 seconds. The older members began to recognize the style, the economy of motion, the precision, like a legend reborn. Thomas Morrison, 58, stood up suddenly. "Holy shit," he said. "I know who that is." His neighbor shushed him, but Thomas stared at Darius like a ghost from glory days. 2 minutes. Trevor was gasping, throwing wild hooks in rage and fear, no technique left. One punch got close, a hook aimed at Darius's temple. Darius caught it midair, his hand closing around Trevor's fist firmly but gently. The crowd gasped in unison, drama peaking. Darius looked Trevor in the eyes, his voice low. "You know what you have to do, Trevor." Trevor jerked away, staggering back, panic evident. 2 minutes, 30 seconds. "That's Silent Storm," Thomas Morrison said louder, excitement bubbling. "That's Darius Williams, the champion." People pulled out phones, Googling frantically, the name spreading like wildfire. "No way! The guy from 2015? Look at him move! It's him!" Trevor heard the whispers, panic etching his face deeper. He charged in uncontrolled, a desperate bull. Darius sidestepped smoothly. Trevor's momentum carried him into the tape boundary, catching himself awkwardly. 3 minutes. Trevor turned, chest heaving, hands on knees. I can't breathe." "You can," Darius said compassionately. 4 counts in, 7 hold, 8 out. "Breathe, Trevor." Trevor looked up, confusion and fear mixing with reluctant respect. Darius stood in stance, still punchless. "This isn't about hurting you. It's about truth." 3 minutes, 30 seconds. "Please," Trevor muttered to himself, lunging one last time, a sloppy right hand, no finesse, just hope. Darius's counter was surgical, one body shot placed perfectly at the solar plexus, not hard but precise. Trevor's eyes bulged, air escaping in a whoosh, knees buckling. He dropped to the mat, conscious but winded, diaphragm spasming. Darius stood over him, offering a hand with quiet dignity. Trevor took it, pulled up slowly. Mr. Patterson stepped in. "That's it. Fight's over. Winner, Williams." The crowd erupted, not in cheers at first, but stunned silence, then noise exploding. "He barely moved. Did you see that footwork? Championship level. Unbelievable." Thomas Morrison was on his phone, showing old fight videos. "Look, that's him, same style." Recognition waved through the gym. "It's really him, Silent Storm." Trevor was on his knees, crying not from pain but guilt, sobs racking his body. Darius knelt beside him gently. I know it's hard, but they need to hear it. Maya needs to hear it. Trevor looked up, seeing Maya in the back, 300 phones recording. I'm sorry, he whispered brokenly. God, Darius, I'm so sorry. I know, Darius said softly. Now everyone else needs to know. He helped Trevor to his feet. Mr. Patterson handed Trevor the microphone, 317 people silent as graves. Trevor's hand shook, the mic rattling. He looked at Darius, at Maya, at the faces. Darius Williams never took steroids, he said, voice trembling. The gym went dead silent, shock rippling. I did it. I was paid to tamper with his water bottle after his fight in December 2015 before the drug test. Gasps echoed like thunder. A betting syndicate wanted him out of the division. Trevor continued, tears streaming, emotions raw. He wouldn't throw fights. He had integrity, so they used me to destroy him instead. Trevor, Mr. Patterson started, stunned. No, Trevor held up a hand. Let me finish. I need to. He took a shuddering breath. My father had cancer, stage 4. I needed money for treatment. These men approached me, offered $50,000. All I had to do was put something in his water bottle. After the fight, before testing. He looked at Darius, guilt pouring out. I thought it would just be one fight. I thought you'd lose the title but keep fighting. I didn't know they'd ban you, destroy your whole life, your family, everything. You knew? Darius said quietly, pain in his voice. You just didn't care enough to stop. Trevor nodded, broken. You're right. I knew, and I did it anyway. Maya pushed through the crowd, stopping 10 feet away, her face wet with tears, emotions overwhelming. I've been coaching here for 6 years, Trevor said. Every day I saw him cleaning, knowing what I did, knowing he was here for his daughter, knowing she wouldn't speak to him because of my lie. He turned to Mr. Patterson. The inheritance I told you about? That was the payoff. $50,000 to ruin a good man. I used it to invest in this gym. I built my reputation on his stolen future. The lawyer, David Reeves, stood up gravely. Mr. Banks, you understand you're confessing to conspiracy, fraud, tampering with athletic testing. This is recorded. I understand, Trevor said resolutely. I'll submit written testimony to the State Athletic Commission tomorrow. I'll name everyone I remember. I'll testify in any proceeding. He walked to Darius, handed him the mic. Tell them who you really are. Darius took the microphone, his voice steady and resonant. My name is Darius Silent Storm Williams, he said, emotions swelling with pride and relief. National MMA champion 2012 through 2015, record 28 wins, 1 loss. That loss shouldn't exist. But the 28 wins are real, everyone earned with skill and honor. He looked around at the faces, phones capturing the moment. I didn't come here for revenge. I came to work, to be near my daughter, to try to be part of her life in the only way I could. From a distance, like a shadow with a mop. His eyes found Maya, love shining. But I couldn't let her grow up believing her father was a coward and a cheat. I couldn't let that lie define who I am, who we are. He lowered the mic. Trevor made a terrible mistake, but he told the truth when it mattered most. That takes courage, more than throwing a punch. The gym was silent. Then Thomas Morrison stood, clapping slowly. Mrs. Chen joined, then Dylan. Then a wave of applause thundered, not for the fight, but for the truth, emotions running high. The crowd pressed forward, people shaking Darius's hand, apologizing with tearful sincerity. I'm sorry I judged you, one woman said emotionally. I should have listened when you corrected my form, a student added humbly. Hey, can I interview you? A local reporter asked eagerly. This story needs to be told. It's inspirational gold. But Darius was only looking at one person. Maya stood frozen 20 feet away, the crowd parting like the Red Sea, a path opening in respectful silence. She walked forward slowly, each step heavy with years of misunderstanding. stopping 10 feet from him. "You never took steroids," she said. Not a question, but a revelation. Her voice choked. "No," Darius replied, tears in his eyes. "You never cheated. No, you never abandoned me. Never." His voice broke with raw emotion. Maya's face crumpled, sobs escaping. "I called you a liar. I said I hated you. I wouldn't visit. I made Mom keep you away. I was so wrong, Dad." "You were a child," Darius said gently, opening his arms. "You believed what you were told. That's not your fault, baby girl. It was never your fault." "I should have known," Maya sobbed, crossing the distance and throwing her arms around him. They held each other for the first time in 10 years, the embrace fierce and healing, the gym silent except for her cries and his soothing whispers. "I watched you grow up," Darius murmured in her ear. "Every class, every technique you learned. I saw it all. Even when you couldn't see me, I was there always, like a creepy janitor spy, but with love." She laughed through tears at the humor, pulling back. "What happens now?" "Now," Darius smiled warmly. "We start over, if you want to." "I want to," she said immediately, emphatically. "I want to know my father, the real one, the champion." Mr. Patterson approached, his face contrite. "Darius, I owe you an apology. I employed you for 3 years and never once asked your story, never looked beyond the rumors. You gave me a job when no one else would," Darius said graciously. "You let me be near my daughter. That's more than enough. It's everything." "It's not enough," Patterson insisted. "I'd like to offer you a position, head coach, your rightful place." The crowd murmured approval, but Darius considered, then shook his head. "I appreciate it, but I'd like to propose something different, something with heart." "Name it." "Youth development coach," Darius said passionately. "Free classes for underprivileged kids. Kids from poor families, kids who get told they're nothing, kids who need someone to believe in them when the system kicks them down." Patterson smiled broadly. "Done. When can you start?" "Tomorrow," Darius said, glancing at Maya. "If that's okay with you." She laughed through lingering tears. "Yes, God, yes." Trevor approached hesitantly, head bowed, emotions raw. "What happens to me?" Darius studied him thoughtfully. "You coach the adults, I coach the kids. And you spend the next 10 years proving you are not the scared 28-year-old who made a deal with criminals. Redemption isn't easy, but it's possible." Trevor blinked in shock. "You want me to stay?" "I want you to do better," Darius said firmly. "Running away won't fix what you broke. Staying, working, teaching integrity. That might. And hey, maybe you'll learn to mop your own messes." Trevor looked at the ground, then nodded. "I'll stay. I'll do the work." "Good." Darius extended his hand. Trevor shook it, a pact sealed in forgiveness. The next morning, news exploded across social media. Disgraced champion exonerated after 10 years. Gym showdown exposes conspiracy. By Tuesday, the Athletic Commission issued a statement. "In light of new testimony from Trevor Banks, we are reopening the investigation into Darius Williams' 2015 suspension. A full review will be conducted." By Friday, findings released. Mr. Williams' suspension is hereby lifted. His record is restored to 28-1. His championship title from 2012 to 2015 is reinstated. "We apologize for the miscarriage of justice, profoundly." 3 weeks later, Darius taught his first youth class. 20 kids ages 8 to 16, some from the gym, many from the community youth center, all on scholarship, their eyes wide with wonder. Maya was his assistant instructor, demonstrating a guard position with poise. "My dad says technique beats strength every time, and integrity beats technique." One small boy raised his hand shyly. "What's integrity mean?" Maya looked at Darius, who smiled warmly. "Integrity," she explained, "means being who you are, Even when the world says you're something else. Even when it costs you everything. It's like being a superhero in disguise. The kids nodded, not fully grasping, but seeds planted that would grow in time. After class, Darius sat in his new office. Small, clean nameplate reading Coach Williams' youth development. On his desk, 2 photos. One of Maya at 6 with his belt, another at 16, taken last week, both smiling. A knock. A young black boy, maybe 10, nervous. "Coach Williams?" "Come in," Darius invited warmly. The boy entered awkwardly. "They said you teach kids like me. Kids who get told they're nothing." Darius's chest tightened with empathy. "Sit down. What's your name?" "Dylan," the boy said softly. "Well, Dylan," Darius said gently, "let me tell you a story about a man who lost everything. His title, his family, his reputation, and how he learned what he was really made of." The boy leaned forward eagerly. Darius began, "10 years ago, I was at the top, champion, respected. Then, in one night, everything changed. Someone lied about me, and the whole world believed it, turning me into a joke." "What did you do?" Dylan asked, hooked. "I kept going," Darius said, eyes shining. "Even when it hurt, even when no one believed me, even when my own daughter wouldn't speak to me, I kept going. Because the truth matters and who you really are. That can never be taken away. Only you can give it up." Dylan nodded slowly, inspired. "My teacher says I'll never be anything, says kids from my neighborhood don't succeed." "Your teacher is wrong," Darius said firmly, kneeling to eye level. "You know what makes a champion? Not where you start, not what people say. It's about showing up even when it's hard, even when no one's watching. That's real strength, kid." The boy's eyes filled with tears. "Will you teach me?" "Yes," Darius promised. "But first, make a promise. No matter what, no matter who doubts you, never forget who you really are. Can you do that?" "Yes, sir." "Good. Class starts tomorrow at 4 Sao. Bring a water bottle and a good attitude. Everything else I'll provide." The boy smiled, running out with newfound hope. Darius returned to his desk, gazing at the photos, his daughter, his past, his present, emotions of gratitude swelling. He thought about the last 10 years, the pain like endless rounds, the loss like knockouts, the silence like a cage. He thought about Trevor's confession, 300 witnesses, truth emerging in its own dramatic time. He pulled out his journal, wrote, "They tried to bury me. They didn't know I was a seed." He closed it, turned off the light. Tomorrow, 20 kids would arrive. 20 kids needing belief, needing to learn their worth wasn't in circumstances. 20 kids learning the strongest move isn't a punch, it's knowing when not to, with integrity and heart. Darius locked his office, walked through the gym, late evening lights casting long shadows like echoes of battles won. Maya waited by the entrance. "Ready to go, Dad?" "Yeah, baby girl," he said, smiling. "Let's go home." They walked out together, father and daughter, champion and student. 2 souls reunited through 10 years of darkness, the door closing behind them. In the gym, lights dimmed, but the story, the true, enhanced tale of redemption, was just beginning to spread, hooking hearts far and wide.